We're live. We're back. Hey, happy Wednesday. Some people call it hump day. I'm not sure I agree. Anyway, today I want to talk about kind of a famous saying and then give some tips, some meat, some bones behind it, right? So, famous advertising executive, long time ago, 50 some years ago, David Ogilvy said that on average, 5 times as many people read a headline as read the body copy. When you've written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar. Now, he's talking about ads specifically. I think they did a lot of newsprint, magazine, billboard, outdoor ads at the time. I'm actually inclined to gut check here to say on the web today, that's probably closer to 50 to 1, maybe even 100 to 1. I don't know exactly. That part's not science, but I definitely think that the bounce is real. Most websites see a bounce of 70 or 80%. And unless they're like super engaging brands already, or they have massive amount of traffic from brand loyalty. Otherwise, no, maybe their bounce rate is 50%, but bounce rates are incredibly high. And it makes me think of like cassettes, tapes back in the day when you would use them a lot and the ink would wear off. And after a while, you wouldn't always know. Like, I always think they're going to wear out the ink on the back button, but just showing my age. The quote I gave you is one of the most cited ones, but the reason behind it is that if you have spent 80 cents of your dollar, or put into more current terms, if we are to say that 80% of the people bounce from your website, there's one of two reasons. It's one of two reasons, and it might be both reasons. The first one being, it doesn't look like what they expected to find when they got there. Plain and simple. They clicked on something that looked a certain way, they landed in another spot, and it didn't look the same, and they're out. This happens a lot from Google because a lot of those clicks are cold. They read the title and the description maybe really quick, and they're just mashing on links, on the blue links, and then backing out. Which leads me to the second reason, the headline copy. Yes, you need to have your logo up there, and navigation needs to kind of illustrate what it is that you offer and do, right? Beyond about us and learn more and our products, riveting stuff like that. But the headline, it's the most important real estate. If they read the headline and feel like they're in the exact right place and the reason they're there is solved the second they read it, then you make that connection and you encourage scrolling or click-throughs. And maybe your average number of page views per visitor goes from 1.1 to 2.1. I don't know. That number varies dramatically from site to site, but it is absolutely true that that headlines are 80% of our work. Plain and simple. You can design you can have the best footer in the world. It's not going to help you. You can have great body copy. You can even avoid paragraphs and have great bulleted lists. It's really clear and easy to skim. Nobody's going to get down there if your headline sucks. So the next tip, and that's kind of tip number one. Tip number two was to use new, whenever you've got it. And that's absolutely true. You see it a lot on like labels for products, like what detergent is in some new formula or something like that. So it does get overused. It certainly gets overused in display and pay-per-click campaigns, social media marketing. Like in ads, you see new or now or introducing or at last, blah, blah, blah. And there's some amount of fatigue from that, but it does still plainly work. Now, should the header of your contact us page say introducing or at last or now with, even better contact speed? No, no. But But another area of the website, like your product pages or deeper dive information about the services that you provide, you can reference anything that has changed. And it's a pretty good idea to make people feel like something new, something is hot, something is happening. And there are lots of ways to do that. You don't have to use those words that I dropped in this number 2. And number 3, promise a benefit. This one's actually pretty hard to execute on because not every business is going to be comfortable talking about how to blank or why you'll XYZ or some sort of formula. But this is absolutely effective. You see it a lot in direct marketing or direct response campaigns. The benefit should be a couple things. It should always be clear. So, your leadership page can say our leadership team at the top, and that's pretty clear. I don't know that there's much benefit in that other than knowing, but it's clear. The benefit should be the readers, user, customer, however you want to refer to them. The benefit should be theirs to have and to hold. So if you were to say something about your leadership team, the leadership team, our leadership team driving results for blank since blank. That's a better headline. It is more direct. It has a time-based stamp in it, and it has outcome proof. So, benefit. The next one, number 4, would be to be specific, not vague. And concrete details for a reader are always going to generate more curiosity than our vague ones. So numbers always beat generalities. So how I increased sales by 67% is stronger than how I increased sales, period. 67% in some industries may be chump change. In others, it may be a dramatic idea. So the entire thing varies depending upon what it is you offer or sell. So your mileage may vary, how far you get. But it is absolutely true that anything you can do from a specificity standpoint will go a long way to giving out the receipts that what you do or sell or offer is effective. The next one would be personalized when possible. I can only imagine 50, 60 years ago when Ogilvy was dropping this knowledge, how difficult it was to be personal, because I think what he was referring to was like using you or speak to their situation. Like while you're driving, people prefer to smoke cools or something like that. Look, today, less so in web design, though it's possible, but in other media types such as social media marketing, definitely in email marketing, you can put somebody's first name in a subject line or in the title text, in the headline text. It's entirely possible. That data is available to anyone whom you've contacted before, anyone that's opted in, anyone that has an account on your site or in your email campaigns. Use it. The more you personalize, the better your connections will be in general. That was number 5. Number 6. I'm going to run out of fingers here soon. Don't worry. There's only 10. Avoid blind cleverness was another one that he dropped. And yeah, I think headlines can get too cute sometimes, as long as they're not obscuring the benefit or sacrificing clarity. I think you're fine to be kind of cute. Your industry may dictate how cheeky you can be. If you're in a medical space or a research facility, there's not much room for that. But if you have a playful sunscreen brand, knock yourself out. It's probably going to help. As long as you're not obscuring the benefit. The benefit has to remain obvious. If it isn't obvious, people won't be able to decode it and they will bounce. Number 7. I got to make sure I have my fingers right. Number 7. this is similar, but slightly different in it's called keep it simple and clear. You've probably heard like the KISS method, and there are other ways of framing this. I know StoryBrand has their own way of framing this. What he was talking about, if an average reader is 13 years old or, has a 5th or a 6th grade education, period, then don't make headlines too hard to understand. The copy needs to be clear and easy to consume. This makes it really hard if you're working with a brand or if you run a brand that leverages jargon or industry speak or acronyms. All of those things should be avoided like the plague. Not saying it's always easy to negotiate that, but it should be avoided like the plague. There is no space for jargon and industry speak, and you should even be careful about metaphors, right? If you use metaphors or analogies in your headline copy, keep in mind you're going to rank for those things, and it's not relevant to your business. So that's problematic. So keeping it simple and clear is critically important to say, all right, I'm going to use basic words and no collegiate vocabulary. Hopefully I didn't go too far with that one, because I think people get it. So number eight is long headlines often sell more than short ones. This is absolutely true. It was true back then. It is true now. So you may want to be snappy and short. And look, if you have a tremendous amount of brand recognition, like you're a national brand or an international brand, Coke can publish short headlines because they don't have to say anything to sell you a Coke. You know what you're getting. Everybody's had a Coke. There are 100 other brands like that, maybe 300 other brands like that. But the rest of us humans on the ground, need long headlines. Now, I know that I mentioned hitting the benefit. That can help because it's hard to nail a benefit, certainly with something like a positioning statement, in under 5 or so words. But there's also a thing called SEO, and there are character limits to how long a title tag or a headline tag or H1 text on the website can be. So consider breaking that thought up into a headline and a subheadline. But in general, the idea of SEO, it's more art than science. I don't think Google's going to not rank you because you exceeded the character limit by 1 character, even if it's a period. They get context. So serve your audience first, then try to back into technical compliance is probably a better way to run a business and create a brand and do your marketing than trying to put together some kind of character count or Mad Lib, which I don't recommend because it's hard to get your brand voice together and really make an emotional connection with a benefit to a reader that way, right? Especially if it's direct response ads. You should just knock yourself out and write, like, in print, a number 10 letter, as long a headline as you want. If it's going to sell, go for it. On the web, like I mentioned, there are some technical challenges. Next one is don't talk down to your audience. Assume intelligence. And this may seem on the surface that it runs counter to the, clarity. I think because with clarity, it's like pretend everybody's 13 years old or is it 5th grade education. Yeah, but this is like avoiding fluff, filler words. I mean, jargon fits this too. But if you can say with your sentence in 8 words without conjunctions or this, they, them, their, that, anything, with anything that just extends or appends a second idea before your period. If you think you need a comma, think about 2 sentences. It's not talking down to use shorter sentences. It's clarity. But when you start run-on sentences in your headlines, you do start to add fluff and lose the plot. So if you're tempted to use a comma, rewrite the headline. That's kind of my rule for not talking down to the audience. I know you didn't see a comma coming there, but trust me, it's a pretty solid rule in general. Lastly, number 10. I didn't do my 9 number on my fingers, but number 10 would be always test. Yes and no. Testing is critically important, and I don't think everybody sees testing the way I do. I'm probably an outlier here, and I will say this. Without enough volume, it's really difficult to have any statistical significance. So you have 9 visitors a day. You can leave a headline up for a month and then change it, or swap out another section that has a different headline and leave that up for a month. And you'll have a story, but you're not going to have the story that you think you are. It's not a apples for apples A/B test. It is a time block test. And time block testing runs into some challenges when it comes to holidays, seasonality, weather, a bunch of things that can contribute to volume to the website and or performance of the website. So depending upon the business category, obviously. So being fanatical about testing is a great idea in principle, but if you don't have the volume, swapping out sections and trying different things, change all your call to actions, make sure they're the same, or you're changing them all out to be something different for a short period of time, going back, run a report for those number of days. That's going to give you something to go on, especially if it's a call to action, like a form or a download. If it's like headline copy, that can be difficult. You may want to look at things like second page views, like did your page view count per visitor, trying to not mess my words up here, go from, like I mentioned earlier, 1.1 to 2, 1.8, 3. It varies dramatically, but it's not nothing. It's something to look at that helps you have some amount of confidence that you've put forward the best idea, the best option that you had at that period of time. Now, listen, if you have access to enterprise software, you can do serious A/B testing. There are third-party apps that you can use on domain that will screen visitors and redirect them to different home pages. Totally doable. They cost real money, and they don't deliver results clearly unless you meet a certain amount of volume threshold. They'll tell you they can, and I get it. They have to sell software, but listen, I've looked at these reports, and I'm here to tell you, testing is hard if you don't have any volume. So it's also good to get peer review. That serves as a means of testing, at least. And don't go to design by committee, but at least if you have feedback from other people, especially if they're active customers or clients, that is tremendously valuable, because it's too easy to work in a vacuum, or what's another analogy I can use? I don't remember any. I'm running out of gas here. Woo! 10 tips is a lot. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do a video in the future that provides more specific examples. My goal here, my guess would be to make a video for each one of these 10 so that I can show an example inside of each one. Otherwise, this video, that video would be an hour long, and I think just about 0 people would want to sit through that. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Even this one went long, and I didn't even get to the examples at almost 20 minutes. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you need a great Squarespace website, go to residentpixel.co. If you're ready to take your Squarespace website to the next level. You just need some help. You want to DIY it, but maybe a little bit of done with you. I've launched a cohort. There's a link below in the description. I think that is going to serve you very well. So anyway, have a great rest of your week. Appreciate you. Like, subscribe, the whole nine. Leave a comment. Tell me I'm crazy. And I hope this was fun. I will see you Friday.